Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Richard for WELSHYTECH, and today we are taking a look at the Thermalright Frost Tower 140 in white. Should you buy it? Let's find out, shall we? Okay, so what we have here is the Thermalright Frost Tower 140 in white. This is something that viewers have also requested for me to do, so let's get into the unboxing part of it now. Obviously you get the manual here. This is going to just tell you how to install it. And of course you've got this end. This is the sorry, I can't read that. Here we go for the accessories by here. Okay, so you get all the mounting brackets for AMD as well as Intel. Obviously you get the clips for the fans, and it does come with thermal paste, but there in the box. Have a look at this. Oh, ooh, this is a chunky boy. Wow, this thing's huge. I mean, look at the size on that. That is huge. 7 heat pipes. That's a big boy. Let's get this out and have a look. Okay, so this is what the fans look like. This is the middle fan. Wow. That looks absolutely nuts. Just weird as hell. That looks weird. I mean, just the shrouding. I mean, it feels okay. It's got good rigidity, but it looks weird. Look at that. That's just an odd shape for a fan. Standard 4-pin PWM. And then obviously we got the 120 by here. Obviously you can see it's this, like, it's got a frame on the fan. This does actually help with thermals as well, and that is also a standard 4-pin. So big, huge heatsink. This is just ginormous for a air cooler. Right, let's get into some of the specs now, shall we? Okay, so for the dimensions, it's 140 by 121 by 158. That would be the height. The sockets this support is LJ 1851, 1700, 1150X, 1200, 2011 square, and 2066. Also AM4 and AM5. As for the fans, now obviously there's two. So we'll start off with the 120 fan. The fan by here is the TLN12WR9. This is 120 by 120 by 25. The RPM is 2400. The airflow is 85.35 CFM with a static pressure at 2.95 millimeter H2O with a noise decibel at 33.3 decibels. 4-pin, and it's a dual ball bearing. Ooh, that's nice. The 140 fan here, it's 140 by 140 by 27, so it's a little bit thicker than a normal fan. This is called the TLN14DWR7. The RPM of this is 1850, and the airflow is 120 CFM. Wow, that is the highest I've ever seen on a fan. The side pressure is 2.4 millimeter H2O with a noise decibel at 36.25 decibels, and it's a 4-pin and it's a dual ball bearing. And obviously with this by here, obviously it's got aluminium fins. It's got 7 heat pipes with a nickel plated copper base, which is lovely. And obviously it's got the good installation of the bracketry that you're used to with Thermalright. So let's get this on the test bench and see how good this performs, shall we? Okay, so the installation is pretty straightforward. You get 4 standoffs here. So you just place them down like this, and like that for the standoffs. Now you get the brackets. Now they will have AM4 silk screened on them, but this is backwards compatible with AM5. So what I want you to do is take one like this, because this is the direction they go in, just like that. Put it in here. Little tip just so you can just keep it in place. Just screw it down a little, just like that. And then you can do the other side, just like this. This is just to hold it in position. Then you get a magnetic screwdriver. This is the Linus Tech Tips magnetic screwdriver. If you guys want to look for a good screwdriver, then the link for this will be in the description as well. So just screw these down until they fully bottom out. Don't over tighten them. Keep going. You do it 4 times and then we're finished. Okay, now that is done. Now we move on to thermal paste. Now this is Doranot from Thermal Grizzly. This is the official thermal paste I use for all my testing when it comes to AIOs as well as CPU coolers. So if you want to buy a tube of this, link for that will be in the description. There is an affiliate link because I really think this is good performing thermal paste. Okay, so what you do now is take the cooler, and as you can see where the Thermalright logo is, that is where it sits. So what I want you to do is line up the threads on both sides, just like that. It will sit in position, and then you bottom out the screws each side until it fully bottoms out. Okay, so with both sides fully bottomed out, do not try and over tighten this because you will eventually damage something. Now, as for the fan installation, these little brackets are for the 140mm. So what I want you to do is grab the brackets here, put them there, put one there, set them in just like this, which is very easy. They just slide into these little protruding holes at each side, and then you just go like this, push them in like that, and then you open up the spring or the clips a little like this down here, and then line it up, and then just clips into position. And as for this fan, you put the clips in each side just like the other fan, and then all you do is you place it on top like this, making sure that it sits correctly because you don't want it looking out of place, and then all you do is that. Okay, so this header here will be the CPU PWM header. Now the positioning of this varies from motherboard to motherboard because each motherboard isn't exactly the same when it comes to the overall layout. Now what I want you to do is take the included splitter and then we'll connect it to that. Okay, so like this is the included splitter. I don't know why it's black, but oh well. So plug it in this way by here, plug it in here like this, and then we place obviously the end of the extension into that header, just like that. And as for the insulation, that is it. This is the Thermalright Frost Tower. This is the fans at 50%. Definitely audible at 50%. Same thing, but 100%. Definitely loud at 100%. Okay, so when it comes to the actual test system, it is my AM5 platform. It's a Ryzen 9 7900. It's got 32 gigs of A-Pacer DDR5. It's got a Sapphire B850 motherboard. It does have a Gen 5 drive from Kingston. It has also a Gen 4 drive from Samsung. It has an RX 7800 XT. It has a 1000 watt cooling power supply, and it's housed in the BQuad Shadowbase 800 FX case. Now, for the actual testing, I run the exact same testing through CPU coolers, AIOs, so that would be Cinebench, Blender Pavilion, Blender Classroom, as well as 3D Mark CPU test. Why? Because each test will hit the CPU differently. That is the whole point. So, For the testing, obviously, they are the benchmarks I did, but I did 2 different types of tests, 50, 100%. So we'll start off with the 50%. Now, for the CPU power draw, the high was 177 watts with a low at 168. The CPU clocks were high at 5.4 and low at 5. Now, for Cinebench R23, the idles are 29 with a max of 83 Celsius. Blender Pavilion, the idles were 29 with a max of 81. Blender Classroom idles 29 with a max of 81, and 3D Mark Supertest, the idles are 29 with a max of 66 Celsius. Now for the 100%, the CPU power draw was the same at high at 177 watts, but the low was a bit higher at 171 watts. CPU clocks were also higher. The high was the same at 5.4 and the low was 5.1, so you are gaining performance there. So for the Cinebench R23, the idles was 29 again with a max of 79 Celsius. The Blender Pavilion, the idle was 29 with a max of 78. Blender Classroom, idles 29 with a max of 78. And 3D Mark Supertest, the idles were 29 with a max of 63 Celsius. Now, what you will see by here's a graph. I am going to put this up against my most recent coolers from Thermalright, as well as other ones I've previously done. I'll put this against the Phantom Spirit 120 Vision because that was a very good cooler. This is on par of the same performance, and obviously you're going to see the differences. I will make sure to put a percentage at the bottom just give you an indicator of which one is the best in terms of thermals, not aesthetics, not fan. It's the thermal performance. That is what I review. I check the thermals because that is why that's what you guys want. You want me to test it to as high as possible. That's why I push the CPUs, and that's why I always use PBO when it comes to the testing. So make sure you continue to watch because the graphs are going to show here, and you guys will get a good indicator on which one you should pick. Looked at the unboxing, you've looked at the installation, you've seen the overall thermal performance of this. Now, should you buy it? What's the price? Is it something you should consider? Well, first of all, we get into what I like. First of all, I like the fact that it's got 7 heat pipes. These are 6mm, 7 thick heat pipes. Look at the size of that, just heat pipes. The mounting mechanism with Thermalright is fantastic. It's one of the easiest I've ever used. It's just straightforward. The fan clips, I don't like that with any air cooler. They annoy the hell out of me. The new fans, I do like the new design of the look of the new fans. Yes, they are a tad loud, but the thermals are definitely there. Even at 50%, the thermals are still fantastic for a dual tower. Now, the middle fan's a little bit weird because of the overall bottom side, but I understand why. It fits into this groove in the middle properly, so it doesn't have to worry about catching anything. That's the reason why. And obviously I like the fact that it's just massive. It's a big air cooler, and if you don't like the white, they do sell this in black. If they're going to bring out an RGB version, then I don't really know. But with how Thermalright has been doing things the last so many years I've been working with them, they definitely do the RGB version after the original one comes out. So if you're looking for the RGB version, then I guess you should wait. But what I'm going to say is the pricing of this is £60. Now, yes, for an air cooler, that's quite expensive. That I'd say is more mid-range, because you get budget, which is like the original Pale Assassin, which is like 30 quid. Then you get £60 is middle, and then you get up to like the high-end stuff, which is like 90 to 130 odd pound. Or Triax that wants to charge 150 quid for an air cooler. But that would be high-end. This beats high-end air coolers. It beats the Noctua NHD15 Gen 2. It beats it by about 3 to 4 degrees. Even at 50%, it still beats it. So just goes to show how good this air cooler is. Now, if you want to buy one, there's only one place in the UK that you can actually buy one. It's not available on Amazon yet, but the prices on Amazon will obviously be up as well. So if you want to buy one, the link for computerorbit.com will be in the description. It is an affiliate, so it does give me a kickback for doing the work, and obviously it does help the channel grow. So if you're looking to buy one, then that's up to you. If you don't want to buy one, that is up to you as well. I am not going to force you into buying one. But if you are looking for it, then the link for that will be down below. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Computer Robot. I'd like to say a big thank you to Thermalright for the continuous support. And I'd like to say a big thank you to the person on Reddit who mentioned this and asked me to review it. So big thank you to them. And as always, I hope you guys have a fantastic week and weekend ahead of you. This is Rich for WELSHYTECH. Don't forget to subscribe because I've got tons of stuff on the way and coming. This is Rich for WELSHYTECH. Goodbye.